Hey Bassett, just going to give you a little bit of feedback on your sheet that you did. So I noticed that you didn't label a couple of these because they didn't have, I'm assuming on the next one, but this exposition didn't have pictures. So right here is the property. So this one, if it doesn't have pictures in MLS, you can always try searching it online to see if you can find it. Or this one it has been relisted. So if you search it online, you'll quickly see that it's been relisted. It's right here. They got it up for 650. They're originally trying to sell it at 689, which falls in line. I checked your comps. I think 700, 710, 790, somewhere or 790, 690, somewhere in there was is the ARV. So 700 looks really good. But so just read through the description. If they don't have pictures of the beat up property, you can read through the description and see what they did to it, and that will tell you what how to really classify it. So they put in new kitchen, stainless steel appliances, new bathrooms, remodeled, da 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 da. Newer windows, so they didn't have to replace windows. If they replaced the windows, they'd say brand new windows or new windows. New garage door, new doors, new gutters. Too much to mention. I'm guessing. Let me take a look at the pictures, but I think they might have replaced the roof. But um, let me see here. It's just funny. And also, if you see that it's on a busy street, note that this is like on the cusp of a busy street. So I would just put a new comment. Um, Close to busy street. All right. That's important. If it's next to commercial, any of those kind of those commercial busy streets, anything that affects the value in a negative way, we want to know about that when we're putting that in our spreadsheet. So here's the property right here. Roof looks questionable, but maybe they didn't replace it because they probably would have said it. But anyways, doesn't really matter. That easily falls into a number 3 with the new windows, right? So if they didn't have to replace windows, then it's probably it might be a number 2, but this is a number 3. So let me take a look at the other one. ARV looked really good, so I'll just keep going. All right, so here's the next one that you didn't have any information on. And so I'm going to actually make a couple adjustments so you can make some determination on this. So the first thing is pull it up online, look on it in Google Earth. Looks pretty clean on the outside. So I would immediately go to a number 3 on this by the age of the house and the condition of the outside. And let me show you what I mean by the age of the house. I'll be right back. All right, so here is the adjustments I made for flip classifications. And this is going to be something that we're going to be constantly tailoring as we evolve this new pricing tool. But I thought about this last night when I was kind of going through my own comps, what the age of the house is. So, like these number ones are usually built in 1975 plus. So these are the type of houses that are newer build. They're not in, don't have any layout issues, and a lot of times the kitchens and bathrooms are usable. And we're just going and doing carpet and paint. So versus number 2 and number 3 are kind of the around that 1940s and 1970s houses or 1965. I'm still playing with that number, but these two are going to be kind of in that age range. The rough shape flips are usually those early 1900s. Not always. Like this isn't like set in stone, but this is a good guideline, right? Gives you a little more information to work off of. And then meth houses, they can be any age, but not uncommon that they are those 1900s because those early 1900 houses that we see downtown usually have some foundation issues anyways. So so with this new information and light, you got a little more info to work with. So this house, I mean, I'm guessing, but it's built in that 1940 to 1960 range. But let's just take a look. It should be in here. If not, then That's year built. I don't have it in there. It would be on the tax records. So when you are looking at these data points, you can put in there. So they don't have year built in there either. So it should be in the tax records. Let me just take a look. Yeah, so it's in the tax records. This is built in 61. So that gives you quite a bit more information to work with. So you can easily just label this as a number 3, right? We don't really know if it's a 2 or 3, but at least we're in some kind of ballpark range. 2 and 3s are not going to be huge difference when it comes to percentage of ARV, but we want to try to be as close as possible, obviously. But without grading the level of flip, then all this other information is useless. So we got to work off something, right? So anyways, that's it for this. Let me check the ARV to see if I see anything there. But I'll shoot a separate video going more in depth on the grading of houses, the grading of flips, and talk a little bit more about that. All right, so just, here's the days back like we've talked about. And I think that's because we're still in, let me think about this for a minute. So we're still in that time period, right? Where did that data go? Hang on. All right, glad I checked that because this is actually in, so this is in July, so that puts us all the way back into April. So you probably already figured this out, but I just wanted to make sure I was right. So we're really going back full 180 days or 170 days, something like that. Anyways, let me get going here. So let me pull up your comp, and so let me pause this for a second, take a peek at it. All right, Bassett. So I was just taking a look at just checking your comp on this Delaware, and you're at 620. I was at 640. That might just be the timeline that you're using. I went a little further out because we are into July, and if you didn't adjust those numbers for that, make sure to go through and just double check these numbers because we do want this data to be pretty accurate, but it is pretty close. I could even go a little higher. The problem is when I look at the 675, gosh, I'm back. Well, that would work too because this 675 is pretty good. It's not actually even that fixed up. That's kind of in that area where everything was selling. So I don't know if we're going to end up really using this July data too much. So let's not focus too much on it because that April, May, March, April, May period, things were still just selling kind of all over the board because the inventory is still pretty tight. The 722. Now this sold in April. So I probably wouldn't be inclined to use that, but it's super nice, right? So I didn't see your 620, unless I'm missing something here. I didn't really look too much into these guys. Here we go. Okay, when was this sold? 5. Okay, I can see your 620. Okay, never mind. Let's keep it. Let's keep it at 620. All right. So anyways, yeah, ARVs, you got that. I just wanted to double check that. Let's just make notes to wrap this up. Make notes if it's on busy street or next to commercial here. So if you can recall of any of these being on the busy streets, commercial, or anything else that would affect the value, positive or negative, make note of it and just do a little quick comment and add it, right? But all this looks good. I think we covered, how we're kind of adjusted this with dates now. So you have a little more information to work with in case you don't have pictures, or just work with that information in general, because that's really going to be, these 2s and 3s are really going to be that 40 to 70 range. This is going to be 1970s, 75s plus usually, and these rougher shapes 1900s and 1900s, and then fire meth structural. So I'm going to shoot a whole nother video on this pricing tool here pretty soon. and we'll talk more about it. So overall, good job. And yes, if you want to go ahead and do the rest of that data today, and then I'm going to help you, or I'm going to have you help me plug in these numbers into our pricing gauge, and then we'll take a look at that data and go from there.